Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first Motor City Uncut of 2019. I'm Dorf. I am not in the studio. I'm like 700 miles away in Omaha, Nebraska. Thanks for joining us here tonight on January 14th, 2019. I'm your host, Dorf, joined each and every week by Major Sports Network founder Adam Hernandez, and Sean Bell is not with us here tonight. He had an incident at work requiring him to stay late. Not his fault. We will not continue to start back up this where we make fun of him for being part-time because it is that time of year. But anyway, here we go. Let's get right into it. A lot has happened since the last time we were on the air about a month ago. I think it was actually 4 weeks ago. Both schools and major universities in this state got embarrassed in their bowl games for different reasons. The more things change, the more things they stay the same. So let's get right into that in the world of college football here. Nobody wants to stick around in Jim Harbaugh land there in Ann Arbor. Seems like the entire defensive staff is gone, and despite I would call a solid performance by their offense this season, they decided to go a different route in the offensive coordinator yet again. They had co-offensive coordinators last year, that being both Ed Warner as the run game coordinator and Pep Hamilton as the OC/pass game coordinator, and just said, F it, we're going to hire you another guy, that being former Alabama co-offensive coordinator / wide receivers coach Josh Gaddis. So are they going to have three OCs? Because as far as I know, Ed Warner and Pep Hamilton are back, or at least they haven't gone anywhere yet. This, unlike the entirety of their defensive staff, which is gone. What's going on here? I mean, hell, a couple of the guys on the defensive staff got hired away by Ohio State. And as a Spartan, that makes me giggle.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, Dorf, where you I don't know. I don't like the thought of having too many or three different guys potentially calling plays when it comes to the offense.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Sure.
I mean, old cliche right there. Too many cooks in the kitchen. You can only run into problems. I mean, Michigan State did that this past year, and it's never worked. It never seems like it's worked out for Michigan State. It doesn't seem like it works out for anybody. I mean, what big-time college football program do you know of that sits there and has three different offensive coordinators, two different offensive coordinators, two different defensive coordinators? I mean, it just seems like it's too much. It seems like a team that doesn't quite know what they want to do, and I don't know. I don't see anything coming of this. I think you need to find that one good offensive coordinator, that one good defensive coordinator to call the shots.
Well, believe it or not, co-coordinators in college are actually not a very rare thing. It's usually a schema to get a guy who you want to keep on staff, but you don't want to give full coordinator roles to because the guy in front of him is no reason to demote him or he hasn't moved on yet. It's a schema to get that guy more money. Because a lot of schools have, we're willing to pay $400,000 for a position coach, $800,000 for a coordinator, and $2.5 million for a head coach. Whatever, however that breaks down. It's just a way to get a guy that that could go somewhere else and be an actual coordinator for a couple extra $100,000. It's a way to bump him up the pay ladder, so he sticks around instead of going somewhere else. I mean, you see that all the time throughout college football. Even though their role won't change at all, and they won't actually be calling plays, they'll be doing exactly what they were doing the year before. It's just a way to get more money. So that's actually a lot more prevalent than people realize and people think. However, I mean, you look at, like, for example, Michigan State 2 years ago. Well, 2 seasons ago at this point, you had both Harlan Barnett and Mike Tressel were co-defensive coordinators. However, Harlan Barnett called all the plays. So that means Mike Tressel was not the defensive coordinator. But Harlan Barnett gets hired away by Florida State. Mike Tressel is now the only defensive coordinator, and quite honestly, I had a better year without Harlan Barnett. With pretty much with I think something like 9 of the 11 guys being the same. So anyway, you see that quite a bit, and I think that's kind of the situation that you had with both Pep Hamilton and Ed Warner. Hamilton was the guy who called the plays when, Jim Harbaugh would get out of the fucking way. And Ed Warner was, run game coordinator was just a way to get him some more money. Because at the same time, Ed Warner, wasn't he a guy, didn't he change jobs like 3 times last offseason before finally ending up at Michigan? Wasn't he like at Ohio State and then a pro team and then
I think he was.
Michigan all in one
I think
offseason, if I remember correctly?
I think he did have his fair share of stops before Michigan came around.
Well, I think it was like in one offseason. I'm pretty sure. I may be remembering that improperly, but anyway, you get my point. The co-coordinator role or that run game coordinator role may have just been a way to be able to bump him up the pay scale to get him some more cash, for to lure him away from another university who wasn't willing to give him that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the issue here in Ann Arbor? Why do you think all these? I know I put in the headline that Michigan's coaching staff is like rats fleeing out of a sinking ship, but like that's not too far off. I know it. I know it's mean spirited, but man, this happens every year now. If it's guys taking lateral moves, then it's concerning. If it's guys getting promoted, like DJ Durkin got hired as a head coach,
sure,
or but at the same time, like everybody else is moving for lateral moves here, and is it just Harbaugh's a pain in the ass to deal with, and people don't want to put up with it? Because you're not going to make any better money as an assistant throughout college football, with the rare exception of like Brent Venables and Clemson. Their defensive coordinator makes like $1.5 million. He's the highest paid coordinator, I believe, in college sports, or in college football rather.
Not only that,
but that's just a please don't leave us. We love what you do here, Monday.
Sure. Not only that, Dorf. These guys are going to Ohio State. They're jumping ship to arguably your biggest rival in the conference.
I can't blame Greg Madison. He was a defensive coordinator here before.
No, I don't
either.
He
got demoted and stuck around, and he got a chance to be a coordinator again.
No, I don't.
In big time football.
I don't blame Madison at all for that. But at the same time, though, you are taking a job with a coach in his first year at Ohio State. And yes, I don't blame Greg Madison at all, but like you said, those lateral moves do become a little bit concerning. And this isn't the first time that we've heard of issues when it comes to a guy like Jim Harbaugh. Fair enough too.
You look at his staff in Stanford. The only guy that stuck with him, I forget the dude's name, but he was the OC in his first year here at Michigan. He's the only guy who stuck with him all 5 years he was at Stanford. Everybody else came and went.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh definitely seems like he's one of those personalities that tends to detract rather than attract, and that's could certainly be the case here at the University of Michigan when things aren't quite going as planned. What are they in? Did they just finish up year 4 or year 3? I think it's year 4. Yeah, they just finished up year 4. They got their asses handed to them in the in their bowl game. They got their asses handed to them by Ohio State. Now, that's not saying that guys are just going to Ohio State because, if you can't beat them, join them. I don't think Jim Harbaugh has that attractive personality that's going to keep guys around. Now, like I said, granted, you do have to kind of be a lunatic a little bit, I think, to be successful in some ways in college football. I think... we've seen this many times before. The lunacy level when it comes to winning in college football and so on and so forth. However, it becomes more concerning when you're not winning yourself. When you're seeing guys go away, go to different programs, take on those lateral jobs, like you said, Dorf, and you're still not winning yourself while this is happening.
And I'm going to cut an argument off here that I know you haven't made or hasn't been made here yet. But Alabama loses all their coaches every year, and that is fine. Well, it's because they put like 2 guys in head coaching roles every year. So suck my balls. Like, look at Kirby Smart at Georgia was their DC 2 years ago. They now have put a coach at Tennessee was a DC 1 year ago. The new head coach at Maryland, Mike Loxley, was their OC this year. Dude, like their OC went with Loxley to Maryland and then bounced to Miami immediately. That being former Spartan Dan Enos. They're putting guys are getting promotions coming out of that program. It's not the same thing.
And that's part of the old Nick Saban coaching tree, too. I mean, that's what happens when you have a successful head coach.
And they do well essentially everywhere they go.
Uh-huh.
Like, this isn't the Darth Hoodie coaching tree where hasn't really been any success outside of Bill O'Brien, which, depending on how he went to Penn State first before going back to the pro game. But anyway, what do you think of the Josh Gaddis hire? I'm not saying that most fans will have intricate knowledge of assistant coaches in the SEC, but Alabama's offense this year was arguably the best you've seen it in a long time, featuring a lot of aggressive downfield passing. Now, that won them a lot of games, blowouts early. I mean, you had Tua Tagovailoa at the beginning of the year not playing in second halves, but ultimately was their downfall in the national championship game. The let's huck it deep led to a very critical turnover there, which led into points and switched a one-score game to all of a sudden like a two-score game going into the half, and it was ball game at that point. I mean, Alabama was never closer than that. I don't think that Michigan needed an injection of, air raid. I think they just needed, I don't want to call it new focused leadership, but I think Harbaugh needs to, Brady Hoke it, take the headset off, stay out of the way. If you want to be the figurehead, you want to be the, Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes type figure who's, jumping up and down, hooting and hollering on the sideline, motivating players, working on refs to get the next call, that's fine. But realistically, get out of the way. And you could tell it's very stubborn, old classical thinking that you also see at Michigan State, where, well, we want to be able to run the ball, and that's what we're going to be able to do. Well, guys, what happens when you can't?
I think
if you don't have another plan in place for, oh shit, we can't run off tackle, you're screwed.
Look, for Michigan's sake, I definitely don't want to see Jim Harbaugh take that Brady Hoke role. Nor do I want to see Jim Harbaugh turn into a Brady Hoke type of coach on the sidelines. I think I'm going to give Jim Harbaugh more credit than that. That he is still a good head coach. I mean, for some reason or another, he hasn't been able to find it at the University of Michigan yet. I see what you're saying, though, Dorf. I mean, if this is a matter of Jim Harbaugh trying to, put his hand in too many different things as the head coach, I mean, definitely you could see a problem arise from that. As far as the the Gaddis signing, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a bad hire, at all. I think it's a good hire. It can be a good hire. I mean, they're going to have Donovan Peoples-Jones come back. I mean, obviously Shea Patterson's coming back. So the tools somewhat are there for them to go and be able to huck it down and and generate some success through the air in 2019. I'm not gonna put too much into what happened in the national championship game. I never want to put too much into what happens in one game, especially one like that too, where you're playing another high-powered college football team in Clemson, and all bets are off in that case. I think for the most part that that he can come in here and he can do very, very well. I guess my concerns with Michigan heading into 2019 is a more encompassing thing rather than one certain thing here or there. There's plenty of different issues heading into 2019 that Michigan fans should be concerned with, other than an offensive coordinator, whether or not his scheme is going to fully transition from the SEC over to the Big Ten. Obviously, that's the concern, but it shouldn't be the only concern for Michigan.
If there's any league that has very, very comparable offensive philosophies, it's the SEC and the Big Ten. Especially Alabama. Team very much believes in the tight end and the fullback. So
yeah.
With that being said, I mean, there's very similar offensive philosophies. It was just like I hate to say it, we're gonna discuss a meme here, but I saw a meme that Josh Gaddis, Gaddis to Jim Harbaugh in their interview. Hey, coach, I want to draw some plays up for you. It's 4 wide receivers and 1 running back, and get out of here. Doesn't have 2 tight ends. I'm not interested. But it was a lot more funny than that. I forget the exact context. I didn't save it, obviously, but get out of the way. I mean, especially in college rosters, there's no excuse when you can dress 70 guys on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the NFL, where you really only see 3 wide, 1 tight end, and a running back sets, because that's really all you have roster space for to be active on game day. There's no reason you can't roll out 5 wideouts, actual wideouts, into a formation in the next play coming in a 3 tight end set.
Yeah.
You got guys galore that you can use. You can have almost double the available bodies on road games and triple the available bodies in home games, where you can literally roll. You could play 10 different receivers. You wonder why things in the Big 12 go so fast. It's because if a wide receiver runs a vertical pattern down the field and can't get back to the line of scrimmage in a second or two, he comes off and another guy comes on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could run that kind of offense here in the college level and get away with it. And I think some tempo would be warranted, some diverse looks, because it's the formula to beat a pro style offense, especially at the college level. The book on how to stop that offense is about yay thick.
Yeah.
The book on how to successfully stop with a Big Ten style defense an effective spread out, even though if you may want to run power, you can still run power out of the spread. A power run or any sort of spread offense is I mean, there's the book on that, if there is a book at all, isn't nearly as thick. Why do you think all I mean, this is a terrible analogy, and I fully admit it up front, but why do you think all the high school offenses in the area stopped running the wing T? It was the offensive choice for everybody for decades. It was the book on how to beat it. It was about a foot thick. There, you could beat it with any set of talented, any group of semi-talented players, and about these 3 principles. You didn't need to really plan on how to beat that. You just roll out, all right, dust it off. All right, this is how we beat the wing T this year. We're going to see that about 3 times. At the same time, pro-style offense, I formation. Oh, yep. Well, the formula for that, how to beat that, was discovered in the 1960s. It hasn't changed much since. So getting into, especially the type of athlete, the modern athlete, that you're able to get. There's very, very few guys coming out of high school now that are pure pro-style, downhill power blocking maulers, especially in the offensive line. And guess what? You don't get those guys to come to school in the Big Ten. They all go to the SEC. They usually end up at LSU or Alabama, and occasionally Auburn and Georgia. Those 4 schools hog them all. You don't get those guys up here. You're not getting if you look at like the success Michigan has had on the offensive line, I mean, you've put a couple major big time players into the NFL. I mean, if you look at Taylor Lewan was a top 10 pick. Yeah. And Jake Long went number 1.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting those guys. And those guys aren't around here anymore. I mean, if you think about it, look at Jake Long. He was like barely a 3-star recruit out of like Sterling Heights.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew him. He wasn't a big deal until he was. Taylor Lewan was, I believe he's from, I forget where he's from. He's an out-of-state kid, but was highly recruited. Who else have you got in between? I mean, Jake Long went to school at Michigan, 15 years ago?
Yeah,
Taylor Lewan's been in the league for, 6?
Yeah, Jake Long is already already retired. Yeah, so.
Now, Jake Long could still been playing injuries not being considered. I mean, Jake Long by no means is too old to play offensive line in the NFL. I mean, but at the same time, he'd be at the very end.
Yeah.
But you're not getting those absolute just freaks of nature that can just bully people. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to finesse guys. The guys that you can get, you're going to have to learn how to finesse people. You're going to have to learn how to out-scheme them. I mean, Michigan State is having the same problem. They think they can play big man bully ball when 3 of your offensive linemen are sub 300 pounds. Dude, in the bowl game, their left tackle is, his roster weight is 275, Cole Chewins. He's maybe 260 on a good day. Your left guard, Tyler Higbee, reportedly like the strongest kid on the team, maybe 280. Your center is like 305 and is not a great athlete. Your right guard is a 330-pound ball of flab who can't explode off the ball, and your right tackle is about 270. And also 6'3", so too short to really be playing tackle. And you want to play big man bully ball in the Big Ten? Come on. Eastern Michigan doesn't feature an offensive lineman sub 320. What are you doing? It's the same guys. You graduated your center and you brought his younger brother in. Why did these guys not put on any weight in the offseason? I think this is a perfect transition into the Michigan State problem here.
Sure.
Reorganizing, getting the band back together. We're going on a reunion tour. Rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
That might be a little harsh. I mean,
no, it's not. It's not, because that was 6 years. By the way, Dave Warner has been the OC for 6 seasons,
which is 5 seasons too long.
Well, believe it or not, 2015 he had the 15th ranked offense in the entire nation. You know what they finished this year at? 96.
Oh, great.
Out of like 120. Ouch.
Yep.
Now, granted, you had an NFL quarterback at the helm in 2015, and it was his best year, being Connor Cook. You had a couple receivers who played in the league, too. And, by the way, this dude named Lev Bell. Actually, no, that was the year after Le'Veon Bell. Sorry, I take that back. That was Jeremy Langford, who also has played in the league. Guys, you need to be able to, when things don't work, and by the way, you can't run off tackle because you're fucking too light in the pants. Okay, well, we're gonna have to figure something else out. Yet they never tried anything different.
No, they didn't. Not offense.
With that in mind, it would be a great idea to bring in, infuse just bring in some new ideas. Bring in some new guys. And instead, let's just shuffle the deck around.
Why do you think that is, Dor? I mean, what is Mark? I mean, because Mark Dantonio, he's another good head coach. I mean, he's arguably the best head coach in the Big Ten. So what's the deal? What is it with Mark Dantonio and him?
He's very, very. I'm going to say this. He's very, very quickly losing his title or his crown of being able to get the most out of the least.
Sure.
I think that now thoroughly belongs to Northwestern's Pat Fitzgerald.
Okay. Yep.
I think he's been caught in that department. As the recruiting classes have kind of somewhat increased in talent, they've actually fallen off here the last couple of years. He hasn't continued to get, better. He's gotten better prospects, but hasn't created those great players that he did out of the lesser prospects. I don't know, man. I really wanted to make a bold move. Go down to the Big 12 and hire somebody. Go nuts. Hire somebody's QB coach. I don't even need. Just make him a QB coach. I don't even need to make him a coordinator. I just want some radical. I hate to call it Big 12 offensive philosophy radical, but for this administration, it is. I want that level of infusion. Gus Malzahn has won a national title. Gus Malzahn at Auburn. He hasn't had the greatest, he hasn't been on the greatest run here of late. Still a damn brilliant offensive mind. You know where they found him? Prior to, 2 years prior to being the head coach at the University of Auburn, he was a high school head coach in Texas. 2 years. That's all it took. He went to he was then hired from Texas, the small school in Texas. He was an OC for a year. Then he was the head coach at, I believe, Arkansas State. And then all of a sudden, bam, he's at Auburn. Won a national title. You need to be able to search far and wide for somebody who's just that, who's got it. But no, instead, let's get the band back together. We're going to demote somebody, promote somebody else, and swap the responsibilities of two people.
Is the most frustrating...
And, I'll give them this. They fired the OC, but they promoted a quality control coach. What the fuck? Oh, by the way, is also a retread. Don Treadwell, pun intended, was a former offensive coordinator here under back in the Kirk Cousins era.
Yeah.
Left to be the head coach at the University of Miami of Ohio.
Yep.
It was an absolute shit show there. And got shit canned, and now is back here at Michigan State.
He had some success though, when the first time around.
They had perfectly fine offenses. I mean, that was the Kirk Cousins era. I mean, Kirk Cousins is good enough to be an NFL quarterback. Say what you want about him, but at the same time, dude's making $84 million over 3 years to play QB in the NFL.
I'd say he made it.
Yeah, he's done okay for himself. After back-to-back franchise tag years, the dude's going to make $200 million in his career, and will still drive Grandma's van. Anyway, this sort of philosophy of it reminds me so much of small-town politics. That you're so worried about hurting somebody's feelings, or we might not get somebody's donation next year if we fire their favorite pet coach, that being Jim Bullman. Mm-hmm. Or, our wives are such good friends. I can't put them out of a job. It would ruin their family. Dude, this is major college athletics.
Yep.
Grow a sack and fire somebody.
I like how you're looking in the camera for that.
All of them. Oh yeah, and this is totally on purpose. I would get closer. Here, I will get closer.
No.
People don't need to see the depths of my pores. Anyway, grow a sack. Bring an entirely new offensive staff in. It obviously doesn't work. If you do not have a professional level quarterback, which Brian Lewerke went from looking like one to, oh my God, will he ever even make a practice squad in 1 year?
What's the most frustrating thing about this, Dorf? Is it maybe the thought that they can't go and find that coach? Maybe they've tried and it's not there for them, or Dantonio doesn't have the skill set to do it, or is it?
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, or is it them having the resources to do that, but just not want to do it?
The resource argument is bullshit. You are a Big Ten institution. If you need money, call up Tom Goris, Dan Gilbert, pick a famous grad.
Magic Johnson.
Or borrow some Magic Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Draymond Green, and say, hey, fellas, can I get $500,000 this year between the three of you? I need to pay for need to increase my budget a little bit because I need to go get this big time coach number 2.
No, I wasn't saying that it was a resources problem. I'm just saying they're not using their resources available to them to go and do this.
Let's put it this way: you have a toothless academic administrator. Bill Beekman is the current athletic director because Mark Hollis resigned in disgrace. Arguably deservingly. Yeah, but you don't have any pressure. Who's Bill Beekman going to walk into Mark Dantonio's office and say, Mark, fire somebody or I will? He's going to look at somebody like Bill Beekman like, fuck off, man. Go away. Now, if that was Mark Hollis having that conversation, hey, Mark, I expect wholesale changes on the offensive side of the ball this year. You do it or I will. If that conversation were between those two, I think change would happen.
I could picture Beekman going to his office and Dantonio handing him his keys and telling him to park.
I know absolutely nothing about Bill Beekman, to be fair. But at the same time, the dude's name is... He makes me... Bill Beekman makes me think of Beaker from what's that comic strip?
The Muppets.
Just... Meep.
Beep, beep, beep.
Meep.
Yeah, it's the Muppet. He's a Muppet.
Yeah, he's a Muppet, yeah. Like, really? Come on. Like, first off, hire a real fucking athletic director. And secondly, like, come on. Like, let's go here.
Well, I guess in all fairness, I mean, Michigan State, the athletic department, from that standpoint alone, and they're still dealing with problems right now.
You need to go nuts. I mean, you need to do something crazy, like in the athletic department. Like, go hire away like a Major League Baseball executive or a football like assistant general manager. Do something crazy like that. Now, know what athletic directors really are? Fundraisers. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you want those crazy kind of Mark Hollis level endeavors, which are part of what draws people to Michigan State. Hey, we're going to go play a basketball game on an aircraft carrier. That's pretty cool. Now, the same thing that draws people to Michigan, hey, we're going to go on vacation to Italy this year, and it's going to be classified as a foreign trip, and we're going to pay for it all. Come play for us. It's a side benefit. It's not only it's a permissible side benefit.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be able to do fun stuff like that again, like, hey, we're going to play a football game next year in the Roman Coliseum. Now, never happened, but
yeah, they'll need a floor, but
yeah. But you get my point. Like, we need to. The whole program is stale. And unfortunately, it's going to come down to we're going to have a serious conversation as Michigan State fans here coming up. If not, I don't think it's time for this conversation this offseason, but if things don't dramatically change under Brad Salem's offensive leadership this coming year, a radical conversation, is it time to put Mark Dantonio out to pasture? I'm sorry. Thanks for being the best coach that we've ever had, but you've failed to adapt. Expectations are higher now.
Yep.
It's time for us to move on.
Yeah, thanks to you, expectations are higher.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got these expectations raised by the merit of your performance. Mm-hmm. This isn't something unrealistic where it's like an NFL head coach. Like, I mean, you had, 2 guys fired this year after the first season?
Yeah.
It's not like that.
It's...
Hell, I mean, you look at the crazy thing in the NFL. Look what Greg Williams did as the coach in Cleveland, the interim coach in Cleveland. All he did was go like 6-3 down the stretch, and guess what? He got canned.
Yep. Didn't get to keep his job.
Didn't get to keep his job. The Cleveland Browns, I think he took them on a like 6-3 or 5-3 stretch, something like that, to finish the year. Got canned. That's the expectation here, Mark. You need to be playing for it. You need to be playing in the last 2 weeks of the regular season for a Big Ten title, minimally. That is the minimum expectation. You set that for yourself. Now you've failed 3 seasons straight. Now, your unprecedented runs of success here at Michigan State, outside of the mid-70s, earns you leeway. You've used it all up. I better see you marching back towards that level, or I'm sorry, it's time to go. It's time to move on. And unfortunately, you're going to have to go do something crazy, like hire some crazy small-time coach. And you hope you're going to have to shoot for the moon again. Because, I mean, there's nobody in the coaching tree you'd really say that, oh, I got to have him back. I mean, you could talk Pat Narduzzi, but at the same time, he really hasn't had a lot of success at Pitt.
No.
I mean, yeah, he played for the ACC title game this year, but he got played around like a chew toy by Clemson. Like, come on. It's Clemson and everybody else in that conference.
Yeah. And Narduzzi would come back, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, you're probably, if you put Mark Dantonio out to pasture next year, Narduzzi's your obvious hire.
Yep.
But at the same time, could you do better? I hope so.
I would hope so, too. I mean, given everything that Michigan State has been able to accomplish under Dantonio.
I mean, I mean, not that I'm advocating for this. Do you go to Eastern Michigan just down the road and hire away Chris Creighton?
No, it seems like there's one more step that Chris Creighton needs to take.
I think he would need
before
PJ Fleck.
No.
You don't want to row the boat coming to East Lansing?
Oh, God.
I mean, hell, they need to row the boat all the time when the Red Cedar floods. It would fit right in.
Come on, that would bug the shit out of you having to deal with that, wouldn't it?
I hope he would come up with something new by then.
No, it would still be that, but oh my God.
Remember horseshoe Broncos foot.
Oh, jeez.
That was his thing about trying to motivate him to go in to play Ohio State when he was at Western. They got whacked.
Horseshoe
Broncos foot.
Horseshoe Broncos foot. So stupid. Whatever, though. He's trying to be creative.
Anyway, anything else about Michigan State?
No.
All right, next. No. Lions offseason plans specifically regarding Matthew Stafford and the quarterback position. I hate to break it to you guys. Matthew Stafford will be your quarterback for the next 2 years. Doesn't matter what you say. You can throw a temper tantrum. Oh, same old Lions. They would be financially fucked if they move him.
Am I the only one not disappointed by this? I'm really not.
Oh, them not moving on from Matt Stafford? No. At the same time, you're like, oh, he limped into the final leg of the year at the same time. Look at his wide receiver troop in Week 17, for example. The one guy that was on the roster at the beginning of the year was T.J. Jones. He was like your fifth receiver. He was your number one that day.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a guy, Bruce Ellington played a ton for you. He was unemployed like the first 6 weeks. Andy Jones? Who the hell is Andy Jones? I knew who he was. Did anybody else? No. He got a couple touchdowns for you down the stretch.
I've never seen someone...
Levine Toilolo? He was like the third blocking only tight end.
Yeah, that's to say they didn't have a tight end. Was Michael Robinson hurt?
Kerryon Johnson was... he finished the year. Michael Roberts finished the year hurt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, outside of that one game where he had like 3 catches and 2 touchdowns, he didn't do anything all year.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson was kind of a disappointment in the receiving game.
Oh, I think,
fine block, though.
I think everybody knew that Luke Wilson's going to be.
You got what you paid for with Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
And that's fair. He had a fine year for what you paid him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you had Kerryon Johnson hurt. Theo Riddick didn't have a good year. You hardly used him. Zach Zenner actually looked good.
But that's all. But that's all things considered. You're Zach Zenner's going to look good at some point when he's basically the only thing that you have.
And LeGarrette Blount didn't put up any numbers for you this year.
No. So
I hate to say it, guys. Getting back to Matt Stafford here, he's going to be your quarterback. In order for you to rid yourself of Matt Stafford this year, if you cut him prior to June 1st. June 1st was the beginning of the league year. There's a $49 million cap penalty next year. That is 26% of the projected salary cap. The projected salary cap is going to be somewhere between 187 and $191 million next year. That's roughly, I based all these percentages I'm about to give you based on $190 million cap for just a round number. That is 26% of your cap. Now, most teams already spend about 18 to 20% on their quarterback if it's a veteran on a second or third contract. You're going to then pay a quarter of your salary cap and then not have a QB. Smart. If you cut him post June 1st, it comes down to 42.5. And then there's also regardless how you do it, if you cut him, a $20 million cap penalty in 2020 and then 10 more in 2021. 10 is survivable. 20 is painful. You ain't surviving 40. No. You will not be able to put a semi-competitive. That sounds like a great way to lose all your games. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a great way to go 0-16.
Yep. And then and
if you trade him this year, pre-June 1st, so before the June 1st league year beginning, there's a $30 million cap hit. That's before you take on. One trade you saw floated was him for Case Keenum straight up. That'd be before you take on Case Keenum's $20 million-ish salary, if I remember. It's like 18 or something like that. High teens, low 20s salary. Oh, by the way, there's a $30 million hold. So in order to make that move work, you wouldn't be able to sign anybody else, and you'd probably have to cut somebody just to get under the cap. If you could trade him post-June 1st, there's a $10 million cap hold this year. That's bearable. Oh, by the way, the year after, there's a $20 million hold, and the year after that, a $10 million hold. All these numbers are according to Sportac. I would call it the best resource for all things, especially football contracts. I hate to say it, guys, you're stuck with Matt Stafford. The only way you can possibly get out of this is you take a QB in the draft who doesn't cost anything. And if you really are serious about that, I don't think you do it this year. This is a weak QB class. This isn't – you're still 3 years out from ridding yourself of Matthew Stafford. By the time – I mean, you conceivably financially can do it after 2. It kind of works with a development timeline if you're going to develop a guy. But at the same time, at 8th overall, you're going to be getting the 3rd best QB in a bad class. 3rd or maybe 4th best if you don't trade up, which – when you have a QB already, to trade up is super, super, super risky. I know Kansas City did it with Pat Mahomes and it worked out, but oy vey.
That's the exception to the rule, though. I mean, you're not.
That's the exception to the rule. You're going to be starving yourself of so much organizational depth and roundabout talent in order to do that for what is at this point a preemptive move. Because if you know what, honestly, if you put a decent roster on the field, Matt Stafford's your QB next year, you could probably go 11-5, and then all of a sudden it's 2 years from now and he's getting a contract extension, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're in a Jimmy Garoppolo situation again where, oh shit, he doesn't have any game tape, so we ain't getting no 2nd round pick for him. And then you've wasted a 1st round pick. I mean, look at some of the guys recently who have been like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th best QBs in their class. Gone in the 1st round. Paxton Lynch, out of the league already. Hey there, that was really loud. Paxton Lynch is out of the league already. Who's another guy that's really, really struggling? I mean, Ryan Tannehill. Although he's been in the league 7-8 years or whatever.
That was a juicy one. Go ahead.
Yeah, Derek Carr.
Getting ready to lose his job.
Yeah. To AJ McCarron, ironically, of all people.
Or whoever they draft next year, whether it's...
Whoever they draft, yeah, right? Well, I mean, this is John Gruden, one of his years in Tampa Bay. He kept 5 quarterbacks. He kept 5. In 1 year. Anyway, I just don't think you can do it.
No, ultimately...
No, not this year. I don't think you can do it. Drafting a QB in the round 1 doesn't do you anything.
No, because I mean, the 2 biggest guys are gonna be Dwayne Haskins, who's gonna be gone already, probably. And who knows? I mean, is Kyler Murray?
I have no interest in Kyler Murray. Absolutely none.
Even so,
you'll be fighting for his professional sports loyalty.
No, that's...
And I'm sorry, I still don't think a QB who's maybe 5'9" will be successful in the NFL. I know Russell Wilson.
Drew Brees.
Yeah. Drew Brees is not 5'9", he's 6 foot.
Okay.
Drew Brees is also a Hall of Famer. Kyler Murray has had 1 good year. I'm sorry. I'm still not willing to stake my friend. I'm not willing to take the game. I'm not in a position like the 0-16 Cleveland Browns where I'm drafting Baker Mayfield, where I didn't have anything nice to say about Baker Mayfield in the pre-draft process leading up to the draft last year and this season, and I will eat my serving of crow. He's proved me wrong, but Baker Mayfield is, 6'1"?
I'm surprised you didn't, because Pro Football Focus was all about Baker Mayfield.
I just didn't think that I didn't like the eye test. He's proven me wrong. And that's okay, but I'm sorry, Kyler. I'm not interested in Kyler Murray. Kyler, if you do it, okay. Hear me out, bro. Go play baseball. Now, you were doing everything exactly right about leveraging your football prospects to get more money out of the A's, because the A's are cheap asses. You ain't gonna get no mega extension before running out your arbitration years. That just ain't gonna happen. I get that. Go get your money. Get paid. Good for you. Don't be stupid. You're going to play out a rookie deal. You're going to be drafted in the middle of the first round. You get about $15 million, and that'll be it. And by the time that your luster will be worn off, because then you'll be 26, 27 years old, just starting to get into the minor leagues, and all of a sudden you're Tim Tebow. Now, you are way more talented than Tim Tebow on the baseball field, and probably the football field as well. But you get my point. You're starting too late. If you haven't made it to the big leagues by the time you're 24 in baseball, 24, 25 years old, you're overdue. You've been in the oven too long.
Yeah.
You're overripe. So, and then by the time you're done with your 6 years of club control, if you make it at that point, you're too old to get a payday.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Kyler, height isn't a concern in football, or excuse me, in baseball. If anything, as he's a corner outfielder. If anything, a compact strike zone helps you. It's going to help you draw a lot more walks. Helps you be very fast through the zone. Do the right thing. Go play baseball. But leverage all that NFL crap you can. Get that money. Anyway, back to the Lions. What do you view as the biggest position of need here in this offseason?
Man, there's so many when it comes to the Lions right now, and I know that seems like something that we say every year. I mean, they can use help on the defensive line.
Is it a better question to ask? What isn't a position of need?
Okay. You know what? Kicker. I don't necessarily think they need to go running back real soon because of Kerryon Johnson.
I think you need the next Theoretic, and I think you need to move on from him. But you get that guy in round 5.
Yeah. You're not going to be drafting that guy in the first 2 or maybe even 3 rounds. I don't want to see them go linebacker.
They need linebacker help so bad.
I know, but I don't want to see them go linebacker the first 2 rounds, though. I really don't. But don't they need? I mean, I'm banking on Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay holding down the fort next year.
Okay.
Maybe they don't need wide receiver or right off the bat.
You need a possession wide receiver. You need to find yourself a Cole Beasley or a Julian Edelman, a guy in those late rounds. Both those guys are 7th rounders.
Hey man, I'm trying to figure out a position they don't need right now. There you go. What, offensive tackle?
Yeah.
Okay, center. They don't need a center. I guess I could make the argument.
You have it there, folks.
I guess I could make the argument that they don't need a tackle, but I still think they do, because I see it on the rundown here. You know, what do you do with T.J. Lang? Obviously Taylor Decker's going to be there, and he's going to be your, one of your offensive tackles.
You're going to have to pay him pretty soon, too.
Exactly.
I think you got to pay him next year. So.
But other than that,
Rick Wagner's also under contract for 3 more. So.
Other than that, though, Dorf, they need safety help. They need cornerback help.
You need a free safety. You need a free safety bad.
Yep.
Glover Quinn is toast.
Yep.
Well, he's a free too.
They need a defensive tackle. They need all of that. They need a pass rusher.
Last year's 3rd rounder, Tracy Walker, came on and played a lot of safety of the year. I like what I saw to him. Still not 100% sure about like his field vision or his ability to come down to run support. But I'll tell you what, if he knows it's a pass and knows that a pass is coming and can just read pass, dude is all over the field. That's very exciting, because especially a vision from a safety that comes with just by playing. And the more you got a lot of time this year, and I think you set it up to have a pretty good player there and pretty good value out of round 3 there.
Sure.
I remember everybody in the at draft time. Who the hell is Tracy Walker? I think he was from New Mexico State. Who the hell is this guy? It turned out to be a very good rookie season for him. But at the same time, that's not going to stop me from taking a free safety in round 1.
No,
because then I can play Walker at corner. You're gonna need. I think you need a corner.
Agree.
I don't know that you need a defensive tackle because you have Ashawn Robinson under contract and Snacks Harrison. I think you're fine there.
That's true. Yep,
I
that's
think
true.
I think you could get away with taking a guy in like round 4 or later.
No, that's fair.
You definitely need pass rush.
Absolutely.
Devon Kennard is fine, I guess. I mean, he had 7 or 8 sacks on the year. Not a bad year. Romeo Okwara, a guy you picked off at the scrap heap, had a nice year, but he's a free agent. Ziggy Ansah's obviously gone. Eli Harold, whoop-de freaking do. He's a free agent as well. Jared Davis, he's so good at times, and he's so bad plenty of times too. He's not a sacred cow anymore. If I have an opportunity to upgrade, I'm going to do it. Christian Jones, I believe, is a free agent too. Had a nice year in a situational role. I thought he was a nice signing, good value there. You need corners. I think honestly the Lions are in the position where they can truly go best player available the entire draft and not get ragged on for like, oh, you didn't need that. You literally could take any position at any time and no one can bitch. Now, trading up for a QB, I think I would be upset about that. Drafting a QB at number 8, maybe. I'm not settled on Dwayne Haskins. The more and more I see of Daniel Jones from Duke, I encourage people to look him up. The more and more I like about him. However, I think that's me trying to find somebody to fall in love with because I've seen a lot of Dwayne Haskins. I just don't. I'm sorry, it's Ohio State's offense. They do one read. I'm sorry, not convinced that he is the next great thing. The guy I really wanted to see come out didn't come out. That's Justin Herbert from Oregon. He went back to school, so that's about the only position. Now, take Will Grier in round 2 from West Virginia. I'm a happy man. Can't complain. What are this? Biggest position of need. Talent, period.
Hey.
Now, don't Janikowski me and take a kicker around 1, but.
Well, they don't need a kicker. They got Prater, so they're good to go.
Yeah. All right, last thing on the Lions thing here. Do you cut TJ Lang? I believe his cap hit next year is going to be at $11 million. Reports are entertained. He's willing to take a pay cut to stick around. Dude's a damn dominant run blocker when he's healthy. Just never is healthy.
Yeah, that's the concerning thing right now is whether or not
not only the concussion issue, but he just had elbow surgery too this week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm definitely open to talking pay cut with him. Obviously, if you don't come down to a number that is workable for the organization, then you let him go. I mean, TJ Lang's not in the position right now where he's one of those sacred cows, as you would say, that you have to keep around. If the money isn't there, then you obviously let him go. Hey, buddy, what happened to your camera there?
Dude, I don't know. It was just you were roboting all over the place, and I turned the video off to try and save the connection. So, looks like it's audio only for the rest of the night.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean that's my approach there to TJ Lang is negotiate, offer him something lower, make it be your number though. If he doesn't bite on it, then no problems walking away from that conversation with TJ Lang.
Okay, sounds good to me. Anything else on the Lions?
No. Thankfully, the season's over.
Yeah. For the cut room floor, Tigers have agreed to contracts with all their arbitration-eligible players except Michael Fulmer. This would be the first time in
streaks in jeopardy
20 years that they potentially will go to arbitration.
Nope, you there? Oh, looks like we lost Dorf. Yeah, connection lost. But yeah, like he was saying, it could be, I think it was 20 years. I believe it is. Usually that's something that Dave Dombrowski has been really, really good about. Prior to him leaving, And obviously, that's something that Alavila has been able to pick up on here. Yep, let's see if Dorf's trying to come back. I think I'm just going to try to finish off the show. But like I was saying, though, oh, here's Dorf. Hey, you're back.
Hey, there we go. Well, I don't know what it is, but the hotel internet just crapped out, so now you're on the phone. Anyway, I
was handling it fine without you, man.
Anyway, let's finish this up strong. So yeah, Tigers don't believe in going to arbitration and having to stand in front of a judge and tell their player that, oh, by the way, you suck, and this is why we shouldn't pay as much as you think you're worth. So,
no, that's why the Tigers have. I mean, when they've wanted to, they've been so good at being able to keep their impending free agents around, just because it's never something like arbitration is it's death to trying to re-sign that player once again. And when you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, like you were saying, Dorf, going in front of a magistrate, arguing why that player isn't worth the money, then all of a sudden negotiations start coming around again, and all of a sudden there's that sour taste in everybody's mouth when it comes to trying to agree on dollars and cents and years. And I don't know, it's just not a good thing. If they want to keep Michael Fulmer around long term, then this is an important step in doing that, is figuring out a monetary value for him without having to go to arbitration.
This isn't the first time that they've gone to past the filing deadline without an agreement in place. I believe it happened with Jose Iglesias a couple years ago, where right before the mandatory deadline, where an arbitrator says, well, we've heard both sides, here's your number, where they've come to an agreement. So I mean, not all hope is lost as far as reaching a settlement comes, but at the same time, everybody else signed in pretty rapid succession, including Nick Castellanos, who, by the way, Tigers got if you believe and put any value in MLB trade rumors' projections, arbitration projections, Tigers got a deal, man. They got him for $2.5 million less than they projected, $1.5 million or $2.5 million, something like that. So they got a good deal there. Just a shade under $10 million. Michael Fulmer probably is going to get somewhere between 3 and 3.5, and I bet you he's asking for 4, and Tigers are saying 3, and they'll meet at 3.75 or something like that. Yeah. I'm sure that's what we'll end up. But anyway, also on the cut room floor, did you see that video of Blake Griffin totally stiffing his former owner there, Steve Ballmer,
yeah.
L.A.?
Yeah, I did.
Asshole. And then he goes off for 44.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Blake Griffin was definitely a man on a mission that the other night in L.A. trying to stick it to his former team, and he did. He did. That's not to say that that the Pistons are in any better position with Blake Griffin on the roster. You can make a hell of an argument that they're not. But Blake Griffin. I mean, obviously that trade wasn't his fault. The money coming over wasn't his fault. I think what Blake Griffin has gotten you for the Pistons is as good as you could have hoped for. I said, I mean, money aside, contract aside.
He's been healthy.
Yeah.
People actually do want to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest of the roster.
He's exciting. He's an exciting player to watch.
He's an exciting player. It's just, he ain't worth $40 million.
No, he's not.
Salary's going to be next year.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of this, and unfortunately, that's probably the most important part of all of this is the contract and how it just kind of stymies you as an organization. But that's part of the reason why Stan Van Gundy isn't around anymore, though. So.
Last thing here that I have on the cut room floor is congratulations to Red Wings for Tyler Bertuzzi and his first career NHL hat trick. Red Wings still suck.
No, that's what happens when you have a young team. Nobody should be expecting otherwise from the Red Wings this year.
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm not expecting them to have been even slightly competitive. But dude, they cannot
stop people from scoring on them at all.
No, I mean they'll get a lead. They'll get a lead, and it'll be gone just like that, and it's gone.
It is gone.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to add to this tonight, Dorf, is we posted a newspaper clipping. Actually, we got it from Tigers History on Twitter, and back in 1972. The Tigers apparently signed a lease to play in a domed stadium along the Detroit River. Now, obviously, that never came to fruition, and they ended up staying at Tiger Stadium until the '99 season, I believe. So another good stretch of years there, they ended up staying at Michigan and Trumbull. But, in Earth 2 Detroit, or in Bizarro World Detroit Tigers, it makes you wonder how that could have changed, not only the landscape of Detroit, but obviously, the history of the Detroit Tigers if they would have ended up playing in a domed stadium along the Detroit River. Obviously, 84 would have been a little bit different. Instead of, Kirk Gibson, dancing around the bases after hitting that home run, at Tiger Stadium, it would have been in, Lee Iacocca, Homer Dome or whatever you want to call it. But, I mean,
like Dinger Dome.
Yeah, the Dinger Dome, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, the thing about it, though, is it would have been one of those ugly, dark.
It would have been the Silver Dome Part 2.
Yeah, it would have been that ugly, dark, dingy, domes that usually used to come out of during that time. And it would have been
the Astrodome, the Alamo Dome, the Trop. Although the Trop's newer than that, but it's essentially a design from that era.
It would have been an eyesore very, very quick, especially during that time in Detroit's history too, when
the riots,
just when things weren't good. It would have been older than Joe Louis Arena, and I want to say it was
and the Joe. And if you actually think about it, people are gonna be mad at me for this. The Joe is a dump. It was always a dump.
Oh, what was it? Yeah. It was a dump from day one.
It's an architectural blemish. It's terrible. How would you not take advantage of all that freaking riverfront and put some windows on the building?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah. But and I have no reason to believe that that it would have been any different with the Tigers dome. It would have been 7 years older than Joe Louis Arena, and they would have been locked into that deal for the next, I believe it was a 40-year deal, 40-year lease on that stadium is what they're looking to sign with that. Now who knows? Maybe the Lions are back to Detroit sooner rather than later. But again, nothing, as we can see right now, nothing good has ever come from a dual football and baseball stadium. It just doesn't seem like it works out that well.
No, it does not.
But I thought that was I thought that was very, very interesting. That's something that I've never ever heard of before. I never knew that the Tigers signed a lease to play in a dome stadium along the Detroit River.
Just never came to fruition, eh?
Yep, never came to fruition.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we could play ifs, buts, alternate history scenarios here all night, but I'm just glad they didn't. Comerica Park is by no means the greatest stadium but it's not a dump either. So
no, it's not a dump. I think that there's plenty of different things they could have done with it.
It was top tier for when it was opened. So I'm gonna give it that. But at the same time now, top tier. I'm not saying top. I'm saying top tier. But anyway, I don't got anything else. You all set?
Hold on, I'm trying to get the music going. Just give me a second. Stall.
All right.